one of the sensitive topics that has come up with regard to 5G is power output and EMF, and you mentioned this in our last thing. There's increasing concern in Europe and elsewhere saying is that, hey, is the power output that is being talked about in Europe and elsewhere, is this a matter of concern? How is Europe handling this issue? Because obviously they want to be at the forefront of 5G as well, right?
Yes, so I would say that every time there is a new technology, these fears are raised, and of course we have to answer to these fears, and the operators have to answer to these fears. And in a way, it's a concern that is akin to rights of way, because the concern happens at the federal state level, but also very much at the local level. So as for previous technologies, we expect that there will be research done, and that the research is already being done and is showing that there are no concerns, but to the extent that people are still concerned, we need to reassure them about what is a very legitimate concern.
Okay. I mean, is Europe working with, we talk about ICNIRP and WHO, is there active consideration saying, hey, look, this is a new technology, maybe new power output requirements are the sort of concerned entities sort of evaluating the whole thing? Because some people say, oh, you guys take too long to evaluate.
Oh, no, I understand that there is a real effort across the world to try and evaluate the issues and come up with real answers that people can feel reassured by.
So there's no foot dragging in terms of trying to say, hey, look, new technology. Privacy is becoming an increasing concern. What's Europe looking at? And globally, when we're looking at the whole issue of data privacy, what are the concerns? Are there any, if you will, and how are we handling it, at least in Europe and elsewhere?
So this is a very good question, and it also allows me to go back to something that Dr. Sharma said earlier, because I very much agree, on the way that we need a new regulatory framework, and we need to look at it from the perspective of, do we need regulation? Regulation will be inserted if and when needed. But one other aspect that the digital age is forcing upon us is collaboration. Industries that never collaborated now collaborate in a way that was not foreseen before. And that forces on governments a duty to collaborate, and different agencies need to collaborate. And in data privacy, this is very important, because what I see is, first of all, non-collaboration amongst different countries. So each country is thinking about their own data privacy law. But secondly, different agencies in a country looking at data privacy for their sector or in their own area. Now, what we need most of all is a framework that is understood and is general and is applicable, and hopefully applicable across borders, because some of the IoT applications will not be available if your connected car stops at the border, right? Or if your IoT tag suitcase doesn't leave the airport, right? So all that is phenomenally important. Also, we talk about data privacy, but of course there are another series of considerations